Welcome to Darshan America, folks. We come to you from Washington, D.C. My name is Ramesh Ambani.
And I'm Aastha Verma.
I never thought I will see this fast changes in Middle East. I mean, we know politics. They move at a snail's pace. But up here, the countries are falling every week. Tunisia, Egypt, Bahrain, Libya, and Morocco is next. Iran has rumblings up there. Saudi Arabia has none, but that's also on the map for that purpose. Amazing stuff is happening right in front of our eyes.
You know what it tells us is that there was a simmering temperament under the surface for many years. There's no way for these kinds of protests to assemble and to have the kind of dramatic impact that we're seeing were that sentiment not pervasive throughout the country and right under the cover. Because as soon as you've had one trigger incident like what happened in Tunisia with the fruit stall vendor, that one small incident has translated into a movement that took over not one, not two, three, 4, 5 countries now.
So far, and more to go. This young fruit vendor from Tunisia was able to totally remake Middle East and Africa.
You know what has been interesting to watch about the Libyan conflict is that it was very different from the Egyptian revolts because the government and the military was told to crack down on the protesters. You saw in Egypt that they stood back and let the protesters assemble. It was very peaceful demonstrations, but not the case in Libya. You've had 200 people plus who've lost their lives. And the most interesting story that's been coming out is how the military, those who have been told to fire upon the protesters, have been defecting and leaving the country going to other countries as their own form of self-exile. I guess that's one way of the military to show their support for what's happening is to just simply defect and choose not to follow orders.
That's right. Now, one other thing that is kind of interesting to note, that all these prime ministers and presidents who have never had business, only the government service, but they are billionaires. Swiss Bank believes that they are holding billions of dollars for Egyptian President Muammar Gaddafi, Ben Ali of Tunisia, and Bahrain and the others. I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of money these people have stolen from the people.
And I think that's why the people have been carrying the sentiment around with them, and they want change. And they want change not just for the person, the figurehead at the top. They're looking for sweeping change in the cabinets and the positions. They want democracy as a way to gain control of their government back and be of the people. And that's a very powerful sentiment.
That's a very powerful, but there are countries and people out there that might play a mischief. Al-Qaeda. You know, Al-Qaeda, their number one concern was the Middle East was being ruled by despots. Now, they got their wish. People are getting their democracy. I don't know whether Al-Qaeda as an organization is going to support this. Are they going to play mischief? Or Iranians, on the other hand, they are going to Suez Canal. And, of course, that means the oil prices shot up. We have to pay higher gas prices.
You know, it seems like any time you hear of any news story out of the Middle East, your gas prices shoot up. And it's like a live wire where we are so now vigilant and I would say so fearful of any kind of skirmish causing problems that would interrupt the oil that is coming here to the United States. It's one more reason why we just need to get off of foreign oil. I mean, I know we all say that, and so far have we seen real migration away from finding oil in those countries? We haven't.
You know, if President Obama will only allow drilling of the rock shale to get the natural gas out of there and replace it with the gas that we import from the Middle East, I mean, we'll be self-sufficient. According to some of the estimates, we have more gas in the United States of America than they have oil in the Middle East.
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be years before that decision takes place, before we actually start making a conscious decision to do that. If you look at our budget, we can't even get the two houses, the Democrats and the Republicans, to agree on a budget. We're talking about the government shutting down. Once again, this hasn't happened since the 90s during the Clinton era when the government couldn't reach a decision, so they shut the government down. They furloughed everyone. This is what you're talking about for the next couple of weeks. Congress, if they don't act before they have to leave for their spring session, that's it.
Yeah.
We close down.
But you know, this governor from the state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, He's doing amazing things up there. You know, the entire union organization have moved to Madison, Wisconsin, because they want to force this governor to leave them alone, make sure that the state government pays their dues and that they pay their health insurance, that they pay them the pension. You know, the governor says, no, we're not going to do that. He has the votes. And the Democrats are all fled out of the state. It's an amazing story.
Well, you know, in a way, what's happening here is you have the harsh reality of the economy, the fact that the states can't balance their budgets. Forget about the federal government. We can't even reach an agreement on budgets. And yet you have agreements made with these unions sometimes decades ago for what they're allowed to bargain for.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, by limiting the ability of these unions' collective bargaining, by taking that away from them, you're setting a very dangerous precedent for any kind of future thing that the lobbies, any kind of future objective that these unions might have. You've basically taken away a basic right of assembly. So what happens is the economic reality becomes pitted against your freedom. And this very dangerous precedent of taking something away that we have fought for, that is an American value. So that's what you're seeing in Wisconsin. You're seeing the unions coming back fighting this one hard because they don't want this particular vote to pass.
But you know, unions, of course, had their use in time, a long time ago, when the abuse of employees was just so much. Yes, they had their time, they did good, but now it should really be, you know...
It's a pendulum, it needs to swing back.
I really tell you, union put in a lot of value in an employee, and they should charge the employer. Not exactly should they say, okay, pay my administrative costs. No. It should be, hey, you like my people, you want to pay a little more than the other employees? That should be the purview of the employer, and not that another third party needs to make a contract with you. And it has been happening for a number of years where unions have gotten into politics, particularly Democratic politics, and they provide people for them